Hey guys, I'm going to talk about a phenomenon that's happening to me in the last few weeks, which is people commenting on my appearance now that I've not come off steroids, but going into my cruise cycle, like brought my doses much lower. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback from people who are saying I look really good right now. Like, what are you doing? Mark, you look amazing right now. And the biggest barometer of that is my mom and my girlfriend. They're both very honest. Like, my mom she'll just straight up tell me that I look like shit. Maybe if I was drinking the night before, or something along those lines. And same with my girlfriend. I made this video in the past that, dating a Latina, they're very brutally honest sometimes. And she's a bit of a comedian where she'll, like, tear you apart if, for whatever reason, in a funny way. It's not just, like, overly mean or anything, but it's like, they'll tell you straight up if you're looking a little fat or you look like shit or whatever else, right? And when I was on steroids, that's what I did get from both of them for the most part, but more so my mom, because she would be looking at me and she'd be like, give me like this look and be like, you're not looking too healthy these days. And I knew why. And maybe she did too, she suspects it, but it's because of the high steroid use, like higher steroid use. It affects the way you look for a number of reasons. I'll discuss that. But I think coming off, when you are like bring your steroid doses down to a cruise, you have more of a youthful look. And because of like the benefits of the anabolic effect, you look more muscular and jacked, like especially when you blasted, but now you're coming off, you're still jacked, but you're not, your body's not under a degree of stress. There's different types of stresses that your body has while you're on a higher dose of steroids, okay? So you look a lot better, okay? And that's the bottom line. So I'm going to discuss why. And there's going to be a lot of things that I think are pretty common knowledge here, but I'm going to sum them all up and then bring it back to the thesis of the whole point, which is you look better when you're cruising. Okay? So here's the thing. Obviously, when you're taking higher levels of steroids, particularly testosterone, you're dealing with bloating and cardiovascular like blood pressure problems, okay? Higher blood pressure. And in doing so, your face will be puffier, you'll be puffier in general. You might have a bit more flushness to you. You just don't look as good, okay? There's a look that people have who have high blood pressure, and you'll have that. So that's the one stress. The stress on the cardiovascular system is going to be noticeable in your overall looks. Okay, but as well, part of the cardiovascular issue, but as well other issues like it's more with like the renin, aldosterone hormones levels in the body that steroids have an effect on, which is actually a kidney. The effects of kidney on your cardiovascular means that the higher blood pressure, but it also means that you're going to retain water more. You have more water retention, and that's something obvious. Like when you go on a higher blast cycle, you put on a little bit of weight, noticeable weight, right? And that's not muscle mass, it's water that you put on. So naturally, when you come off, your body is going to come into more homeostatic balance. Your renin aldosterone system is going to be working more ideally because you're not stressing that as well, your kidneys. Therefore, you're going to look better. So that's the first thing. Second thing is stress in general. You stress your body, you're going to have more cortisol levels, higher cortisol levels, stress hormone levels in the body. Stress hormone levels, cortisol, it's there for a reason, but too much of it is a bad thing. And, I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but if you have too much of it, too much stress, like you can look at someone who's stressed and it's just read it on them like a book. Like you can just look at somebody that they're stressed. Dark circles under their eyes, their behavioral patterns, the way they carry themselves. Somebody who's stressed, it's obvious. Like when I was in Japan, in Tokyo, you go on the subway, and it's full of guys who are like wearing the suits, right? Who work like 15-hour days. And you just by looking at these guys are overly worked. They're just overly stressed, and they just look like shit. Okay, and it's the same if you overtrain or overdo anything. There's too much stress hormones. Your body is not in a homeostatic balance. You might not be getting enough sleep or getting enough rest, but it's the same as stress if you're overloading on hormones, because your body is has to work overtime to process these things. That's a simplified answer, but I think that's very valid. Okay, your body's not in a state of hormonal disbalance. As a result, it's got to work more, and it's going to be under stress. And there's other factors as well. Potential effect on the liver in itself, the inability to process things as easy. I'm not going to get in a big lecture because I don't know much about that, but that could be a factor as well. But in just to sum this up and to get to the point, this isn't going to be a long video, but it's one that's important, is like when you're on a higher dose of steroids, you also feel like shit. It can. And that's because you take too much. If that's when you take too much, it has to do with the estrogen levels, has to do with like just the amount of load that's on your body, okay? And you feel it, but not just feeling it, people will see it. Okay? And so it's kind of a weight off your shoulders when you go back to a cruise or a TRT plus. It still might be a relatively high androgen load like on your body, but it's not to the point where it's like stressing your body, okay? Like it might just be like 150 testosterone and 100 nandrolone, and that's roughly what I'm doing right now. And as opposed to before doing 300 tests, 300 masteron, 150 nandrolone, and then some anavar, right? It's like, that it was good. I got lots of great gains. You'll get all the gains, and then you come off it, you still got the muscles, you still feel good. Like you feel good. Amazing. I made a video the other day about this. It's like, what do you feel better, on or off testosterone? Well, it's kind of a hard to answer question because you feel amazing when you're on steroids, but when you come off, it's like a weight off your shoulders, right? I feel like a lot better. Like my heart now, I go monitor my heart levels at say Walmart. Whenever I'm in Walmart, I go to the machine, or in the pharmacy, or at my gym. There's also heart rate monitor there, and I monitor my blood pressure. And now it's within ideal levels. When it was before in heightened levels, you feel like shit. You feel not as good. I'll put it that way. It's not like you necessarily feel sick or anything, but it's like you got this feeling about you. Well, that feeling will also show. You'll also show it as well. Okay. So yeah, I'll leave it there. I think that's a good summation of everything, of why these things are happening. Is there anything I missed? Leave in the comments section below. Is this something that you've either witnessed or experienced yourself? I think when you start cruising, there's a bit of a youthfulness that comes back. Steroids, here's another one that I've kind of forgot to mention, is that steroids kind of age you. It looks like, you ever seen a guy, he looks like he's 40 years old, but then he says he's like 23 because he's on mad steroids, like a bodybuilder. It's ridiculous. But that's for other reasons, like maybe there's hair loss, maybe whatever. But just like the skin and like the look about him, looks like he's way older than he actually is, right? So, but when you come off it, there's kind of a youthfulness that comes back to a degree. Once you're on it, once you've been on it for a while, it's not like it's totally all going to come back necessarily, but it is there. It is noticeable, I believe. So, what are your thoughts on this? Again, leave in the comments section below. And like and subscribe to my channel for more content on my steroid experience and just steroids in general, okay? Thank you for watching. Peace.